Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for the delay. I got stuck in the sunshine and almost didn't make it. So, I mean, what the heck, right? Do you believe me? Let me try this without glasses, see if I can see anything. It's always been an issue. Anyway, welcome, everyone, to our pre-show. I put a comment out already. If you have a question, please put a Q in front of it so it pops to the top of the queue. We can answer it. We have a very special guest today. If I can only remember her name.
Karen
The
Long.
problem I have is I always make mistakes. She just said that, but disregard her. She's not here yet. She's not here until she comes on camera. How do you like that one? Anyway, we have a wonderful show, and here we go. See you on the inside. We're back. And again, we apologize for the delay. No, I wasn't in the sun. I'm fading, and I'm, just it makes me mad because I like spending time in the sun. That's why I live in Florida. So, welcome to all of you at all the various LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, and every other group that's out there. I guess I should say Twitter and LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn. So let's go into our agenda today so you have an understanding of what we're doing. I don't know why I'm using the mouse, for the simple reason that I have a special set of keys that I just punch the button and away we go. Get rid of the phone. I hate being disturbed. Anyway, be that as it may. We have a sponsor today, which just happens to be our interviewee, and I'm going to introduce her shortly, and then we'll have an interview, and you're welcome to ask your questions. I have the panel up. I see what you're seeing, and we're moving on from there. So, and then she'll have a presentation for you. We'll do a Q&A, and we'll wrap it up, and then we can go back to doing whatever we were doing today. So let's get going here. Today's sponsor is Streamline Government Contracts. And yes, you heard her say it. Karen Long is our featured guest today, and she'll be going through about 30 minutes of slides. Just nod your head, Karen, if that's correct. Okay, that's good. 30 slides or less. Try to get you out of here in less than an hour. Well, it's got to be less than an hour because we started 10 minutes late, and that's all on me. So I own it. Anyway, let's get to the intro. Well, Karen, you're not in the center of the screen anymore. Let's figure out why. There you are. Everybody, welcome Karen Long. And we're going to have some fun today. Why is my... Anyway, the live stream's going out. It's just not showing that it is, but that's beside the point. We always have that problem. We have some questions that came in via email, and 4 of them. And let me see if I can bring them up here without making a mess. Well, I guess probably in any order doesn't matter. What can we do to make our company more valuable to a prime contractor? Karen, I know what the answer is.
So in addition to some of the certifications that your company may qualify for, such as being an 8A or an SDVOSB or WOSB, Woman-Owned Small Business, or one of the other ones, HubZone, etc. What you can also do, and what I recommend, is bring a solicitation to a prime contractor and get to know the customer. Get as much intelligence as you can so that you are providing a valuable contribution to the prime.
That's a pretty good question. I'm just absolutely thrilled that you mentioned SDVOSB. That should have been first, but we'll deal with that in another one. Question number 2. What's the difference between a teaming agreement and a contractor teaming arrangement? Okay. I know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you.
All right, well, I'll tell them the answer then. And this is different from what you will see in the FAR, but because it calls either arrangement a contract or teaming arrangement. But you generally teaming agreement refers to a subprime I'm sorry, yeah, a prime sub relationship. And a contractor teaming arrangement refers to solicitations that you can bid on with GSA where there are two prime contractors using both of the using both companies' GSA schedules. And therefore, the thought is providing a better solution to the government. So that's the difference between a teaming agreement and a contractor teaming arrangement. And I get that question quite often.
Very good. Well, that's 2 down. Let me get over here where I was. I turn that one off and let's turn this one on. Oops. Turn that one off and turn this one on. I return that one on. Turn it off. I'm having fun here. Glad I put my glasses back on. If a company's already won a contract and wants to work with them, do we need a teaming agreement? What's the next steps?
Okay, so no, you do not need a teaming agreement if they already won the award. The teaming agreement is for to work on the proposal together and to form a team to work on the proposal, and then subsequently the award. So the next step would just be to request a subcontract.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's turn that one off. And last but not least, what about companies who don't have any of the certifications and want to be a sub?
So again, this goes to, you know, you can obviously, you won't help the large business or the other than small business as it is technically called in terms of meeting their small business goals if you're not a small business. However, what you can do is, again, back to the first question that we had, get to know the customer, get to know what the government's needs are, bring a solicitation to a company that you would like to work with who could potentially prime it if you don't feel like you are ready to prime.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm surprised we didn't get a BPA question, which I was really kind of waiting for. But we're not talking about GSA today. We're talking about open market procurements. But one thing that everybody needs to understand, remember, and live by, it's the edict. You must develop a relationship with the agency. You must. And that's what Karen's saying about get to know the customer. You have to have the relationship. But I will tell you, if you end up doing an email to any government employee, i.e., contract officer, contract specialist, COTR, all that stuff, never attach any kind of attachment, your capability statements or anything, until you ask permission in that email. May I send you fill in the blank? So that's one thing that I've seen in my 37 years of playing this game. And if you watch one of the previous streams with Mark Amtower, he's been doing it in government contracting, not GSA, a year longer. I mean, we are old people. I'm so old, I think I found some dirt that wasn't quite as old. That's beside the point. And I digress, but I'll never apologize. So let's get into your slides, Karen.
Okay.
I'll take it away. I will mute my mic and I'm off camera and you're not back in the center of the screen again. I didn't see you move.
I didn't move. I didn't think. Do you want me to move?
Let me see here. Why am I not getting you in the center of the screen? Anyway, move to get in the middle of your chair. That's the problem. Oh, welcome back. Very good. Well, you move back to your left in the chair, or unless you move the chair, it doesn't matter. There you go.
Is this better?
The other left. Not too far. Anyway, you can see yourself on camera, so you can see what you're doing. Yeah, make sure you're in the circle. I should make the circle bigger. I can do that, but I'm not going to do it live. I'm going to mute. you go through your presentation, and I can hear everything that's going on, and I'm working on the stream right now. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, Karen Long.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thanks to all those who are listening today. Thanks for joining. And one thing that I thought we would discuss today are negotiating teaming agreements from the subcontractor's perspective, because it's easy to, and I'm trying to make myself get myself in the circle here. It's easy to, of course, negotiate from the prime contractor's perspective. What is more challenging is to negotiate from the subcontractor's perspective, because you are you don't have as much leverage. It's not your agreement. The prime basically, for the most part, calls the shots. But again, we're going to talk about negotiating and how you can even it up as much as possible. And that's another question I get from small businesses a lot is, can we just ask the prime for their teaming agreement and use that if we want a prime and we don't have one? And I would recommend not doing that, because they know the important, the tips, the language, and what they can negotiate in and out and so forth. So I recommend not using another company's teaming agreement, or at least not with them. But I digress. So we're back to negotiating teaming agreements from a subcontractor's perspective. And just a little bit about Streamline. We were founded in 2012. We help businesses, primarily small and medium-sized businesses, although we've worked with businesses of all sizes. And we help increase profits and enhance your reputation. All right, a little bit about me. I've actually had a little bit more than 15 years, but I'll stick with 15 years. I like that. And I'm, again, president and founder of Streamline Government Contracts. So first, just to start off with the basics, remember the purpose of a teaming agreement. It's between a prime contractor and a subcontractor, whereby the companies are going to bid on a solicitation together. And it should not include anything about recompetes or follow-on work, although I do see that primes like to stick that in a little bit. But you want to stick to what the purpose is, and really the information about the recompetes or the follow-on work is really it's not going to be that is not going to be sustained. And so know your company's value. So I always ask my clients, what do they have to bring to the table? And again, as Mike was saying, again, it's about the relationship with the customer, the knowledge about the solicitation, whatever, obviously if you have a small business certification, that helps, the expertise that your company does, your core competencies. But again, it all comes down to, as Mike said, really the relationship with the customer. That's how you're going to increase your company's value. And that's going to determine, as we say here, how hard you can negotiate. So I try to simplify the teaming agreement and not say more than is necessary. So a lot of times it will have additional proprietary language. However, hopefully before you even have had conversations, you have an NDA in place and you can incorporate that into the teaming agreement. And if it's for specific work, then you want to try to negotiate work share. Now, a couple tips: IDIQs. They generally will not. They will not promise a certain percentage of work share, and that's because no one knows what task orders are going to come out. No one knows how many task orders are going to come out. nobody knows how many the prime is going to win. So that is, that is understandable. But again, that's when swim lanes could come in handy. Um, when you can negotiate work share, then what I recommend is to say a minimum percent of, the revenue or the dollar spent on labor. And you want to say something like for the duration of the contract, including all option periods, so that it is clear this is not just for the base period and that you are there for the long haul, and that is the expectation. I really cringe when I see target and approximately. So a lot of times I will even see like a target of 49%. What I recommend is to say something such as a minimum a minimum of 45% with a target of 49%. If number one, you it's would be extremely rare for you to hit the 49% on the head. And number two, at least then there is a floor, and you're not limiting yourself, and you're not, um, you know, you're not you're not debating what the definition of target is. Again, for the subcontractor, you want to have as definite a language and as objective language as possible. And again, as we mentioned, if it's an IDIQ, you can try for swim lanes or first right of refusal for certain labor categories, because I've rarely seen a prime willing to give a straight out percentage of the work share for an IDIQ. It happens, but it is pretty rare. So pricing is one of the things that I really like to talk about a lot, because we're all in business. All companies, all for-profit companies, are in business to make a profit. And again, I am a big advocate of small businesses. I have worked with small and mid-sized businesses my entire life, even prior to starting Streamline. So what what I would say is you want to try to negotiate the price when you have the most leverage, and that is before the proposal. So what I do is my suggestion is to put the language in the teaming agreement that says pricing accepted prior to proposal submission shall be incorporated into the following subcontract. Now, again, unscientifically, I will say that works about 50% of the time. 50% of the time, it doesn't work. But what that tells you is well, you might want to start a little bit higher, because if they're not willing to accept that language, then it's basically telling you that they're going to try to negotiate with you after the contract award. So if nothing else, it gives you information. So if you are being exclusive, you want to understand what you are giving up. So for example, you want to be careful if you're going to be exclusive on an IDIQ if you're not giving work share. Again, that's where the swim lanes come in. And what I have found, I've seen a few times in my career, probably more than a few times, but I've seen things such as language such as, if the prime determines that the subcontractor is not a good fit, then they can unilaterally terminate the contract. And, or if the prime learns that the subcontractor blank, 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 fill in the blank, then we can terminate the teaming agreement. Said that wrong last time. So it is important to be able to know what you are giving up and to understand. In addition, when I see that language, my perspective is if you're asking us to team with you, and especially if you're asking us to team with you exclusively, then you should already know, and you should have already researched us to know enough to know that you want to work with us. So again, I'm careful of that language, again, especially if the exclusivity is involved. Um, thank you very much. So now talking about inventions. So again, unless you are going to be working on inventions as part of the proposal, I suggest that you go ahead and strike the language and just simply put reserved. No sense in putting out language that you're going to have to review again if in fact you get a subcontract. Now, if you are going to be working on an invention during the proposal period, then what I recommend is that you may want to speak with an IP attorney. Another key to look at in teaming agreements is the non-solicitation of customers. So what you want to see is, a lot of times it will say no communication is allowed with the customers. Only the prime contractor can communicate with the customers, which is fine, but you want to make sure that then customer is narrowly defined. So if you don't want to talk about all of FEMA, you want to talk about a division or a specific group within FEMA, as opposed to the entire agency, which can limit your business development opportunities. Okay. Survival clauses. So what you want to do is you want to ensure that the proper clauses within your teaming agreement survive, and the ones that should not survive are not included. So for example, non-solicitation of employees, confidential information, those types of things, obviously you want to survive. What you want to ensure does not survive, and I have seen this in a teaming agreement, where even if the teaming agreement terminates, the exclusivity clause remains. So again, just something to look for and be aware of. So termination, and I'm not going to go through and talk about all the, basically the 10 different ways or 10 different reasons of why a teaming agreement should be terminated and when. But I do just want to bring a couple of things to your attention. Ensure that if the prime does not bid, obviously that terminates the teaming agreement. But the second part of that is you want them to notify you in writing within so many days. So you want to ensure that that does happen, and you specify that. Otherwise, you may be in exclusive teaming agreement. You think you're bidding on company ABC for this opportunity, and you find out, 3 weeks later, oh, they're not going to bid. So that is extremely important, that you want them to notify you in writing within so many calendar days. I usually choose 2, but that's just me. And again, you don't want it to be something like they'll just notify you, because they may say, oh, well, we had that conversation, and maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But if they notify you in writing, it's documented and it's easy to point to, and you're very clear on what the status is. Second bullet is ensure that the TA does not terminate if the proposal is in source selection. So that if the proposal is in source selection, that the teaming agreement still remains in effect to maintain the things that you did negotiate in the agreement, such as work share, swim lanes, etc. Now, this ensure that there is some sort of end time frame, and I went to this. I had actually happened with a client recently, which was an unusual situation. But basically, there was a solicitation back in 2018, 2019 that apparently was protested, and we can't find any evidence that the solicitation ever got canceled. Well, meanwhile, they had signed an exclusivity clause. Um, in my opinion, it was a pretty broad and exclusive clause, which I wouldn't recommend. But at any rate, they were tied to these timeframes. We actually consulted with an attorney, or I consulted with an attorney with them, and we basically gave them notification in terms of what our expectation was, and that solved the issue. But save yourself some grief and put an end time frame on the teaming agreement. So now we're going to talk about attachment A and just understand what you signed up for. Understand, um, obviously, what your bandwidth is, how many resources, employees may be available to work on the proposal, etc. So just ensure that you have the bandwidth. Do you have the resumes, or will you be capable of getting the resumes with the requirements of what the personnel need to qualify to be on the contract? Are they requiring past performance? You don't want to surprise them with any unwelcome information at the last minute, saying, "Oh, that $10 million contract we had. Turns out it was only 5 million, so it actually doesn't qualify for past performance." So again, just common sense. Understand what you're signing up for and be clear about what you can and can't do. So negotiating teaming agreements is just one of many things that we do at Streamline. But I welcome you to have a 30-minute conversation with us. We like to reduce risks, increase profits, and enhance your reputation with the government and the other companies that you work with. Do we have any questions, Mike?
Actually, no, I got you the four that I'd already gotten before.
Okay.
And, we'll see from there. But we did have a little glitch. I'm answering a post right now, and that's done. We actually had a little problem with YouTube not starting the stream on time.
Okay.
So uh, let's get back over here to what we call the Q&A section. Don't laugh now. Promise me you won't
Okay.
laugh.
Okay.
You're off camera again.
Okay.
That might be asking too much.
Well, we all know who that is. You said you weren't going to laugh. Everybody fails it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the stream not going out. I will edit the video today as soon as it's finished, and I will post it back on YouTube and all the other 3 platforms. And I've made it my, what would you call that? Edict, not Edith, edict, to get it out today. And again, we apologize. I will tell you, though, during the Q&A section that we had a schedule change. So Cheryl McCants will be live 1 o'clock on Friday. So we're going to go from there. I don't see any questions. Do you have any questions? I think it was a pretty good presentation, and we'll talk after the show. So why don't we wrap this bad boy up? We're going to be early. There's no way you went through 30 slides that quickly. I'm sorry. You're good, but you're not that good.
You're correct.
All right. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Again, you're off camera, but that's okay. We'll work on that for the next time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for trying to join us today. I apologize. As you can see behind me, over here, that's snow, along with the ocean. For those of you up north, deal with it. So, such arrogance. Well, I'm 71 years old. I don't care anymore. If you can't have fun, do not show up for work. Just take a look around, on C-SPAN to see all the empty seats. They're not having fun at work, so they're not showing up. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, if and when you ever see them. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Karen, thank you so much. And we'll talk as soon as I wrap this rascal up. So,
Okay. Thank
Ladies
you,
and
Mike,
gentlemen,
for
again,
having
thank
me.
you,
Really
and we
appreciate
will
it.
see you on Friday. And oh, I have a button that does that. Okay, and it's brutal. I have all these newfangled things to use, and then I forget because I'm looking at the screen rather than the camera all the time, and the camera's only 2 feet away. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you again, and we will see you Friday.